Thanks everyone for coming. My name is Robert Axelsen. I'll be giving a talk about a quite simple talk, and there's nothing advanced here. It's using a Vue.js package. I'll be going over creating a Kanban board with Vue.js using Vue.js plugin or package called vue-kanban. So really simple stuff because it's simplified for us. My name is Robert Axelsen. I'm a software developer. By day, I'm a meetup organizer by night. I love when code and people come together, and when I get to meet new people, talk about geeky stuff, and try to help any way I can. I organize this meetup, which is the Vue.js Vienna. I organize Free Code Camp Vienna, and also a Golang user group or meetup, vienna.go. Yeah, I think that's it. You can find me most places as with the handle @RobAxelsen. If you want to have fun, you can also look everywhere for on all the things, because I'm at on all the things, on all the things. It's an alias for now on some of the medias, but when I found I could be on all the things, I just had to grab the chance. So, all that aside, and as I said in the beginning, this is nothing fancy or complex here. If you're familiar with Webpack or NPM or Vue.js or a combination of those, you should be able to do this on your own. This is more to be able to show something interactive with code on the screen that you can do yourself. And after the slides, we'll do this together on the screen as well. Because the talk is recorded, please keep your questions till the end. But I'll sure to answer them then. So, all that aside, and maybe before we even get to vue-kanban, by show of hands, does anyone not know what a Kanban board is? Everyone knows Kanban. Okay, cool. So for the people on the video, maybe Kanban is just a representation of showing, to manage work, to show tasks from, for example, in different states, from new to in progress to completed. We'll see that more in as we see the example project on the screen. And to be able to do that in Vue.js, you can, of course, work and start from scratch and do it all yourselves. You'll have to do stuff like keeping track of mouse drag events and stuff like this, which in and of itself can be time-consuming. Maybe not the most complex stuff, but it's not, what you start out as a beginner. So if you just want to have something like prototyping or something up quick and dirty, vue-kanban is a package ready for you there to use. It's an adaptation of a CodePan that looks really nice, which is everything in plain JavaScript. You can have a look. There's a link here. Vue-kanban itself is really simple. It just does the job well. It's customizable via slots. So it has a predefined data structure. And based on that data structure, you can have slots for all the different data elements. It comes with a SAS style that you can just import in your project, and you can modify it so you get a feel for the style to work with. And the data structure, it operates on, it calls it blocks. So every block or item on the board is a block. And it's an array of blocks. Cool. Installation is as simple as following these steps. I think this should be as complete that you can just do all of this after each other. I hope I'm not wrong, but vue init, this is, if you just install, I haven't added it there, you have to first yarn global install, so yarn add global, I think the command is, and vue CLI. If you do that now, you get still the vue CLI 2, and this example uses that, but vue CLI 3, which is even more awesome and fancy, is in release candidate, so by the time you watch this talk, or by the time you get to look at this at home, it might be what you would want to do. But it's not hard to put it on top of that either. This is just what you need to get started and to test out this. So you vue init webpack simple, and you give it your project name. So in this case, I've just used Kanban. You go into your folder, you yarn install as you normally do. This is not given in the vue-kanban instructions, but you should add some Babel plugins, otherwise you'll get some errors. So that's here for you. Then you just add vue-kanban, the package, to the project. And then you start doing the stuff in main.js, meaning you're importing vue-kanban, and then you're using vue-kanban in your project. Nothing fancy. If you're used to Webpack and Vue and Vue CLI and/or Vue CLI, this is not new to you, but this is your cheat sheet to play around. This is not the default Kanban board component example, but this has some formatting for us, some slot customization. This makes it so that when we're testing it afterwards, it looks fancy enough for us. I'll give credits where credits is due. My talk started being motivated by an article I read where they give examples like this and also include some persistence in terms of a real-time database. And I'll mention that article at the end. And then, if you're familiar with Vue.js, you can just add the data locally in the Vue single file component. And this is what's needed, a stages key with an array value of the different columns. And then you have blocks that then will have what it needs to put it in the right column. And that's all there is to it. And then for the styling, if you just do it by default, it just really looks messy. There's nothing there. So you should at least use this like default styling to get a feel for where to start or what to customize. It's available if you click a link here. I'll show you afterwards in the official Kanban repo. And you just take that SAS file and import it into your project. That's about it. I'll spend like 5 seconds. My company's hiring full stack web developer, backend web developer, zipwise.com. There's the links. There's an email. Ask me questions afterwards if you're curious. That's it. All that said, demo time. I think for the sake of the structure of the talk, before we go to the demo, these slides were made in the command line with Vim using Remark.js. I recently started using Remark.js, and it's really awesome. It's markdown in an indexed HTML file. It's quite diverse. You can do styling to make your code look nice. All the code I had here, there's not images, that is marked down with CSS styling. So if you're curious, have a look at Remark.js. And the slides are already online in our Vue.js Vienna repo. Awesome. So let's demo this stuff. So if I follow the instructions, we can now just remove the previous. Awesome. So maybe like this, it's easier to see. Now I'm just following the current release Vue CLI version 2, just giving default to all the stuff for the sake of this, and for SAS explicitly saying yes. Then we can go into the project folder that we just created. I can blow it up even more. And then we can, instead of npm to keep it consistent here, we can do yarn install. We also save a bit time for the demo, stuff not being synchronous. Awesome. And then just to prepare here, it's good to add these so we don't get any conflicts or build errors. And at the end, we'll add the actual package we're using. So awesome. So I'm a bit unsure, but I think we'll use code. I'm not a Visual Studio Code user normally. I'm a Vim user. But my experience with copy pasting and formatting on the fly in a demo, I'm going to live dangerously and use this tool. It makes it easier for the talk as well, I think. So let's add this in the main.js. So now we're importing the vue-kanban package that we just added with yarn. And then let's go one step further. And what we have now, maybe for the sake of people not so familiar with Vue, if you do Vue, so if you do if you run the default scaffolding or the boilerplate that you get with the Vue CLI, it ends up looking like this. So we're taking this boilerplate and we're just adding the Kanban, because a lot of stuff is there done for us, right? Cool. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking, in the app view that just had a content we just saw on the screen, I'm replacing everything there inside the div with the Kanban board. I'm sure someone can tell me how it's super easy to just format with a plugin or something. Let's just ignore the formatting for now. Will still work. And then we'll add the data. So we already have a data return in the boilerplate. So what we'll do is we'll just get the actual state we need. And we'll replace this. Is it big enough? Yeah. Cool. I think that should work, even though the formatting is a bit off. And then this is the official repo where some of these examples are taken from. Before I forget, I'll just do this so we can cover that at the end. Okay, cool. So here you see in the source and the assets, it has the styling we need. So I'm going to take the same, just copy it, bring it into our project, like so. Now I think, yeah. Awesome. So we'll just we'll import the file we just created. Awesome. And then we should be good to go. So let's see now, baptism by fire. Let's do that here. So awesome. So that's the beauty sometimes of just having packages to use. It can be addictive and remove you. Oh, there's an extra. It doesn't matter. It can remove some complexity, but also make stuff not so easy to customize. But in this example, I think for prototyping and for making something, giving a functionality to a project you have, you can be quickly up and running. This is, of course, not persistent, but I can drag the stuff from one state to another. And then adding Firebase or some other backend or your own REST API or whatever, if it doesn't need to be real time, you really just need to keep track of the state. So the block state that we saw in the code example here, and we can add new blocks to this. This is all that constitutes the Kanban board items. So we could add a second one and a third one, and this is like this. Then we have it here. Maybe it needs review, and it's very soon approved because the meetup is over. So that's mainly what's to it. As a last aside, this article is worth a look. Most of the steps that I mentioned are mentioned in here, but it also has an additional section of quickly adding some real-time sync functionality. I used Harmony Sync, but I didn't choose to use it in the talk because, be aware, it seems a bit new and fresh and not complete. When you create an account, you cannot delete the account. You cannot delete the app ID. So if I accidentally shared my account ID and app ID with you guys on the talk, I couldn't have deleted either one of them. So maybe it matures and becomes good. It's good at what it does, maybe, but Harmony also doesn't give you the chance to look into your data and see what data is there. It just gives you what you need to have the functionality. So I won't recommend it, but it's a quick thing to play around with. Copy-paste code, and you'll have the same thing you saw on the screen now, but it'll be real-time sync and persistent. So that's nice. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for your attention.